So, yeah, this is a bit of fun. This earth here, excuse these French mole traps. I hope it doesn't offend anybody, but if you don't get rid of the moles, you're going to have a field that looks like the Battle of the Somme in front of the house. Anyway, this earth here came from right in front of the mouth of a cave called El Castillo in northern Spain, near Bilbao. I collected a plastic bag full of it and brought it back home to Wales, and I managed to get it through customs. A nice customs man understood what I wanted to do. There were lots of theories about how the handprints, 40,000-year-old handprints on these cave walls deep inside the mountain were done. And some say that it was dry dust blown from the hand onto the wall, a wet wall. Well, who am I to say? But when you try that, what happens? The wet wall runs and the paint drips down. When I was at university, the theory was that they put it in their mouth in a particular solution, concentrate, and then spat it out over a hand on a dry wall. Well, that's what I did, and it worked absolutely fantastically. Yeah, okay, I was picking bits of this ochre, red ochre, out of my teeth for a day or so. It's beautiful stuff. Doesn't matter. It was a fantastic experiment, and it's a little bit primitive, that, isn't it? I mean, the ones that they did were far more sophisticated. I can see that I used slightly too coarse. I didn't grind it down as much as I might have done, but the principle remains the same. Unlike them, of course, the cave in which I live has not got a static temperature that will remain stable for thousands of years. So I have got a glaze of polyurethane over my hands and my children's hands and my wife's hands. But as you can see, it worked really, really nicely. I'm going to frame that. This came from the very cave, El Castillo, in northern Spain, where our great, etc. grandfathers and grandmothers made these handprints for some reason unknown only to themselves. It's in the dark, far beyond where any light could penetrate unless you took a torch in. So some kind of ritual, some kind of sacred site, but it's a lovely thing, I think, to have. Well, there's my breakfast tomorrow, scrambled eggs with puffballs. There's a variety of different puffballs. I can't remember them right now, doesn't matter. They're all edible. You just got to be careful that you don't mix them up. Well, it's not difficult. If you cut them open and they're black in the middle, then they're earth balls, and they'll do for you. They're poisonous and not. Well, you'd know, it's obvious. Anyway, to be honest, I don't really like puffballs that much. They taste like chlorine to me, but I eat them kind of on principle because it's free food, and it's lovely to find the mushroom and stick it in your egg. Some people adore it. It's not really my favourite.
Well, this is just a little postscript, really. There are dozens of different sorts of puffballs. This is one. The largest being, of course, the giant puffball, which can be as large as a small sheep. They're normally white on the top. This one is brown. So you'd think it was past its best, but it's not. I've just had it for breakfast and it was really nice. As I was saying, with the common puffball, there's a sort of chlorine taste, which I don't really like. And I've just had this and it didn't taste so much of chlorine, which makes it nice. It's a pretty substantial size. Might not look it to you now, but if you slice that up, that's plenty for 2 or 3 people. I had to giggle when I saw the Latin name for the family puffballs is Lycoperdon, which is wolf's fart. There's no other way of saying it. Obviously, the taxonomist had fun in naming it.
Here is the earth ball, which, not to get muddled up with the puffball, you see when you break it open, it's got this black inside, and as it gets older, it gets more black and it gets harder. It looks very much like one of the puffballs, but it's not going to kill you, but it's inedible. Next to it, rather interestingly, as Sen just found, is a load of things which used to be called Jew's ear, but now I think it's perfectly fair and nice to call them jellied ears. Jelly ears. They don't taste much, but they're great in a mix of mushrooms for their texture. It's a nice firm texture. Yeah, lovely.
This one's growing in a grass, an old grass patch. Ah, yeah. Well, it's better to see them live, of course. This one's conked out, poor little thing. But look at his beautiful paw front feet, like span back like spades. The fur on a mole grows directly upwards, so that whether it travels backwards or forwards, the hair doesn't get matted. It's incredible when you consider the underground burrows are often so damp and wet. At this time of year, in the autumn, youngsters come out and disperse on the top. Don't know really what's had a go at this, or maybe nothing, maybe it just died of natural causes. I have noticed that when you put them out for the buzzards and the kites, and the foxes, they stay out there for sometimes quite a few days, whereas the remains of a rabbit will be gone overnight, or if not quicker. There must be something distasteful about mole flesh. They go eventually, but maybe that's why this one's still here.
Ayrshire cows. In the next field is a load of charolais. Well, here's a crabapple tree, and in this tree, in probably any time now, we'll descend, and this orchard, old orchard in northern France, thousands of redwings and fieldfares. One wonders if the fruit shows up as ultraviolet in the dark or something, because they see it as they're flying over. I love a story that Bryn once told us. I say this in love and no disrespect. Jonathan Miller was the most incredible brain. He had the pin code to his brain much as Peter Ustinov did. And he would be able to recount stories about anything. And one day Bryn thought, well, I've had enough of this. I'll see if I can catch him out on a subject he couldn't know anything about. Being the son of a cattle farmer in North Wales, Bryn casually brought up the subject of breeds of cattle. At which point Jonathan rattled off all the breeds in great detail, because by sheer chance he had been evacuated as a child in the war to a farm in North Wales. Well, that puts my voice to shame. Well, third time lucky. This is a tawny owl chick. I just flushed the mum from this barn. The last 2 years the grey squirrels have nobbled these beautiful chicks, and none of them made it. Hence my attempt to learn to shoot a catapult, laughable as it is for a 61-year-old man. Anyway, beautiful creature, isn't it? If I move any closer, I fear it will flutter off, and I don't want that. What a gorgeous thing. All the birds around. You hear the blue tits alarming, blackbirds alarming. Grass snake, Natrix natrix. This is a female swimming in the water, and she can be a metre or even longer, whilst the males attain only a maximum of, say, 1 foot. You're most likely to see them in the rivers in the spring, where they gorge themselves on tadpoles.